Hello, I'm Alistair Charlton, technology reporter for the International Business Times UK, and today I'm here at Google Campus in London's Tech City to speak with the head of campus, Easy Vidre. Located in the heart of Tech City, Google Campus is a 7-storey building housing space for startups to rent. This gives access to desks, the internet, and use of a canteen. But more than that, campus provides the opportunity for startups to interact with each other and form new business ideas. In the year since it opened, campus has hosted hundreds of events, encouraging thousands of people to pay to work there. But during that time, Google has faced pressure from critics who have suggested the project was little more than a farm for the company to buy startups from. What have been the biggest challenges for you over that year? And if you could start again now, what perhaps would you do differently?
I'm happy to say that now after a year, we had more than 850 events in year one that brought more than 60,000 people. And we have more than 15,000 people that signed up to work from the cafe where we are now. One of the big challenges of launching Campus was to dispel all the conspiracy theories of why is Google doing this? And is Google doing this to steal engineers or to invest in companies in low valuations? But I'm happy to say that Campus is a non-for-profit activity for Google. We don't invest in the startups at the moment. We don't buy the startups. We don't need a building really to spot companies to buy.
Looking more widely, how do you see Tech City differ or be similar to other hubs across Europe, sort of in Berlin and Helsinki?
In terms of resemblance, I would say that London is probably closest to New York, but compared to the time that I was living in New York, it's taking us much faster to get to the same point where New York is today. The reason that we're more similar to New York is that there's a high concentration of media, brands, agencies, and finance, very similar to New York. And there's a magnet for international talent. London as a metropolitan is able to attract people from all over the world. Compared maybe to Berlin, which is a very thriving startup community, but it's very local.
I wanted to find out if there's anything London can learn from Silicon Valley and other clusters of technology startups, and if Tech City needs to create companies on the scale of Google and Facebook before it will be seen as a success.
We need to aspire to have our own thing. We don't need to try to become Silicon Valley and always feel like we're falling short. Silicon Valley is 30 years old, Tech City is 2 years old or 3. So I think that we need to develop our own local flavor, but it's always good to look at role models and best practices. We need to have the ambition of Silicon Valley, we need to have the hunger of New York, and we need to have the culture of Israel. In the national sport in the UK, maybe cricket or football. In Israel, the national sport is startups. Everyone is either in a startup or they want to start a startup, and this is what we need to aspire to be. One of the criticisms on the startup ecosystem in London is that we haven't produced a billion-dollar company or exit like Google, Facebook, etc. There are companies that are getting to this billion-dollar mark quicker than we think or quicker than we notice. Not all of them are UK-based founders, but the companies are headquartered in the UK.
I was actually in Helsinki a couple of weeks ago looking at the tech startup industry there, and what struck me was the culture they have is fail quick, pivot, try something else, fail again, doesn't matter, because eventually you'll make Angry Birds or you'll make Supercell or whatever. Do we have that culture with startups here, or again, as private investment is a little bit hesitant, is our culture perhaps not as daring as it could be?
I think that we have a process of education to complete with startup founders. For many people that are starting startups in the UK, it's the first time that they do it. They either quit their jobs or they came straight out of uni and they're founding a startup. So we try to help a little bit with that through Campus EDU and bringing experienced founders and bringing Googlers to give these first-time founders mentorship. But I think that we're still making up our culture. The fail fast and lean startup is definitely percolating. People realize that you no longer need to spend thousands of pounds to build a product that no one wants. You should get out of the building and find the first users, the people with the biggest need. And I think that people realize that you can also build companies with a much smaller upfront investment.
After spending just a few minutes in the cafe at Google Campus and watching budding entrepreneurs sketch out the first draft of what could one day be the next billion-pound business, it doesn't take long to feel the buzz surrounding everyone working in Tech City. And Easy is hugely confident about its future as a major contributor to the UK economy.
I think that people realize, maybe with the crisis starting in 2008, that job safety is in the eye of the beholder. And I think that the next generation of entrepreneurs who are currently in high school or college are reading more and more about the success stories of startups and realizing this is a viable career choice for them. If we are smart and build the seeds for the next generation of startups to grow, I think that the UK could be one of the primary destinations for entrepreneurs to set up their company. There's some structural problems like the cost of living and the cost of real estate, but all in all, we have a lot going for ourselves here in London. That's why our motto is, let's fill this town with startups, and I think it should be, let's fill this country or this continent with startups, because that's where the growth is going to come from.